They lied to us. They looked us dead in the eyes and lied. And now Seth Rollins wants us to believe he's innocent? After everything he's done? After every single betrayal, every calculated attack, every time he stabbed someone in the back with that smug grin on his face? You really think we're supposed to just take his word for it now? Asterisk asterisk, let me tell you something that's about to make your blood boil. At Survivor Series 2025, we witnessed one of the most vicious, most brutal attacks in WWE history. A mystery assailant absolutely demolished a top superstar backstage, leaving them in a pool of their own blood, and the entire wrestling world immediately pointed fingers at one man: the architect, the revolutionary, the visionary, Seth freaking Rollins. And you know what? We had every reason to suspect him. This is the same man who turned on his Shield brothers, the same man who's made a career out of playing mind games. But now, after weeks of silence, after letting the speculation run wild, after allowing his reputation to get dragged through the mud on every wrestling podcast and social media platform, Seth Rollins finally decided to speak up. And what did he say? Two words that nobody buying. Two words that sound like the weakest defense in WWE history. Two words that might actually make this situation worse. It wasn't me. Are you kidding me right now? That's it? That's the big statement? After all this time, after all the evidence, after all the witnesses who saw someone in your gear, with your build, using your signature moves, that's all you've got to say? But here's where this gets absolutely insane. Because buried in that statement, hidden between the lines of his so-called innocence, Seth Rollins said something that changes everything. Something that WWE doesn't want you to focus on. Something that might actually prove there's a conspiracy going on that's way bigger than anyone realized. Before we break down exactly what Seth said and why WWE management is allegedly trying to bury this story, I need you to do something. Look at the evidence with me. Because what happened at Survivor Series wasn't just an attack. It was a message. And somebody wants Seth Rollins to take the fall for it. Here's what we know happened. It was approximately 9:47 p.m., just minutes before the main event was scheduled to begin. Cameras caught the aftermath of an absolutely heinous assault backstage near the gorilla position. The victim, whose identity WWE tried to keep under wraps for almost 3 days, was found unconscious with multiple lacerations, a possible concussion, and what medical staff described as injuries consistent with being hit with a steel chair repeatedly. Now here's where your detective skills come in. Question for the comments section: who do you think was the victim of this attack? Because WWE never officially confirmed it, but dirt sheets have been reporting 3 different names. Drop your theory below because this detail actually matters for what comes next. The attack itself was calculated, professional. Whoever did this knew exactly where the cameras were, knew the blind spots, knew the timing of when security would be doing rounds. This wasn't some random act of violence. This was planned. This was personal. And the evidence? Oh, the evidence looked bad for Seth. Witnesses reported seeing someone wearing black and red gear, exactly like Seth's ring attire. The attacker allegedly used a curb stomp on the steel chair, Seth's most devastating finishing move. And get this, they found a piece of torn fabric at the scene that forensic analysis suggested came from the exact type of material Seth's ring gear is made from. But Seth Rollins stayed silent. For 2 weeks, he said nothing. He didn't tweet. He didn't post on Instagram. He didn't show up to Monday Night Raw. He completely disappeared from the public eye while the entire wrestling community turned against him. Death threats flooded his social media. Fans burned his merchandise. His own locker room reportedly refused to be in the same building as him during SmackDown. And then, just when it seemed like WWE was about to have no choice but to suspend him indefinitely, Seth Rollins posted a video to his social media. No fancy production. No PR team scripting his words. Just Seth, sitting in what looked like his home gym, looking directly into the camera with an intensity we haven't seen from him in years. Here's what he said, word for word, and I want you to listen carefully because every sentence matters. I've been silent because I was told to be silent. I've been absent because I was advised that my presence would complicate an ongoing investigation. But I'm done playing by their rules when those rules are designed to protect the people who are actually responsible. So let me be crystal clear. I did not attack anyone at Survivor Series. I wasn't even in the building when it happened. I have receipts. I have timestamps. I have witnesses who can place me 3 hours away from the arena at the exact time this attack occurred. But here's what's interesting. When I presented this evidence, this irrefutable proof of my innocence, to WWE management, they told me to keep quiet. They told me it was better for business if the speculation continued. They told me that the storyline potential was too valuable to waste on the truth. So ask yourself, if WWE knows I'm innocent, why would they want the world to think I'm guilty? What are they covering up? Who are they protecting? And most importantly, who benefits from destroying my reputation while the real attacker walks free? I know who it is. WWE knows who it is. And soon, the whole world is going to know who it is. because I'm not taking the fall for this. Not this time. Never again. And then the video just ends. No explanations. No names. No additional details. Just Seth Rollins essentially declaring war on his own company and promising to expose whoever's really behind this attack. The wrestling world exploded. Twitter melted down. Reddit conspiracy theories went into overdrive. And WWE? WWE reportedly went into full panic mode because Seth just violated his contract by making unauthorized statements about an ongoing company matter. But here's where this gets even more twisted. Within hours of Seth posting that video, it mysteriously disappeared from his social media, completely scrubbed. And Seth's account posted a new statement, clearly written by WWE's legal team, apologizing for his previous comments and promising to cooperate with the investigation. Except there's one problem. Multiple fans had already downloaded the original video, screen recorded it, backed it up, and now it's spreading across the internet faster than WWE can possibly contain it. Question for the comments: did you see the original video before it got deleted? And if you did you notice the detail in the background that everyone's talking about? Because there was something visible over Seth's shoulder that might actually be the smoking gun that proves everything he's saying. Now let's talk about Seth's alleged alibi, because this is where things get really interesting. According to sources close to Seth, he claims he was doing a meet and greet event at a children's hospital in Philadelphia at the exact time the attack happened in Chicago. Now normally, these hospital visits are heavily documented with photos, videos, and social media posts from the hospital staff and families. But when wrestling journalists started digging into this alibi, they hit a wall. The hospital initially confirmed Seth was there, then suddenly refused to comment further. The photos that were supposedly taken during the visit mysteriously never got posted to the hospital's social media accounts. And the families who met Seth that day? Every single one of them declined to be interviewed or provide statements. Now WWE's official position is that they're protecting the privacy of sick children and their families. Noble, right? Except these hospitals always post about celebrity visits. It's literally free publicity and it helps with fundraising. So why would they suddenly go dark on this particular visit unless someone, maybe WWE themselves, asked them to keep quiet? Because here's the theory that's gaining traction in the wrestling community. What if Seth's alibi is real, but WWE doesn't want it confirmed because it ruins their plan? What if they already know Seth is innocent but they're using this situation to work an angle that they think will draw massive ratings and social media engagement? Think about it. The mystery attacker storyline is dominating wrestling coverage. Every wrestling news site, every YouTube channel, every podcast is talking about it. Survivor Series berates are reportedly up significantly because people want to see what happens next. WWE's stock price actually increased after this incident became public. From a cold, corporate perspective, why would they want to end this story by clearing Seth's name when the controversy is literally making them money? But Seth Rollins isn't playing along anymore. And that's what makes this situation absolutely explosive. Because according to multiple reports, Seth has been conducting his own investigation. He's hired private investigators. He's been reviewing security footage that WWE apparently lost. He's been talking to witnesses that WWE supposedly never interviewed. And he's allegedly discovered something that implicates not just another wrestler, but someone in WWE management. Now we need to talk about the suspects, because if Seth didn't do it, someone else did. And the list of people with motive, means, and opportunity is actually pretty extensive. Theory number 1, it was someone Seth wronged in the past coming back for revenge. Seth's made a lot of enemies over his career. Edge, who Seth injured and forced into retirement for years. Roman Reigns, who Seth betrayed. Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, who's probably still bitter about how things ended. CM Punk, who has history with Seth and is known for holding grudges. The list goes on and on. Theory number 2, it's someone trying to frame Seth to get him out of the main event picture. Seth was being positioned for a major championship match at WrestleMania. Taking him out of that equation opens up spots for other wrestlers. So who benefits most from Seth being suspended or fired? Theory number 3, and this is the one that's gaining the most traction, it's a work. WWE staged the whole thing. The victim is in on it. Seth's denials are part of the storyline. And we're all being worked into thinking this is a legitimate shoot situation when it's actually the most elaborate angle WWE has ever produced. But here's why Theory 3 doesn't fully work. If this was a planned storyline, why would WWE's legal team force Seth to delete his video? Why would they threaten him with contract violations? Why would WWE actually involve law enforcement, which they reportedly did, if this was all fake? Unless, and stay with me here, WWE started this as a work but it became a shoot when Seth discovered something real that they're actually trying to cover up. Question for the comments, which theory do you believe? And more importantly, who do you think the mystery attacker really is? Because I'm about to tell you who I think it is, and it's going to blow your mind. before we get to that, we need to address the elephant in the room: Seth Rollins' credibility. Because let's be honest, Seth has a history of lying, manipulating, and doing whatever it takes to get ahead. This is the man who betrayed his brothers with a chair to the back. The man who aligned himself with the authority. The man who's turned heel and face so many times we've lost count. So when Seth Rollins looks into a camera and says, "It wasn't me," why should anyone believe him? What's different this time? What makes this denial more credible than anything else he's ever said? And that's exactly what makes this situation so fascinating. Because for once, Seth's not playing a character. The desperation in his voice, the anger in his eyes, the way his hands were shaking during that video, that wasn't acting. That was a man whose career is on the line. A man whose reputation is being destroyed. A man who's watching everything he built crumble because of something he claims he didn't do. And here's something that nobody's talking about. Seth's wife, Becky Lynch, has been completely silent through all of this. Becky, who's normally very vocal on social media, who defends her husband fiercely, who's never afraid to speak her mind, has said absolutely nothing about these allegations. No supportive tweets. No defensive statements. Nothing. Why? Is it because WWE told her to stay quiet? Is it because she's not sure if Seth is telling the truth? Or is it because she knows something that we don't? Now let me tell you who I think the mystery attacker actually is, and why this makes perfect sense when you connect all the dots. I believe it's someone who's been in WWE for years, someone who has the skills to pull this off, someone with motive to frame Seth Rollins specifically, and someone who WWE might actually have a reason to protect. But more than that, I think this person has been planning this for months, maybe even years. Because when you go back and rewatch certain segments from the past year, there are clues. Little things that didn't make sense at the time but now seem incredibly suspicious. Like that promo where a certain superstar made a weird comment about Seth's past catching up with him. Or that backstage segment where someone was seen watching Seth a little too intently. Or those reports about backstage heat that never fully got explained. It's all connected. And Seth Rollins figured it out. That's why WWE wants him quiet. That's why his video got deleted. That's why his alibi isn't being publicly verified. Because if Seth exposes who really did this and why, it doesn't just solve one mystery. It unravels a much bigger conspiracy that WWE has been covering up for corporate reasons. Here's what I think happens next. Seth Rollins is going to show up at Raw. He's going to ignore WWE management's orders to stay home. And he's going to call out the person he believes attacked him, right there in the middle of the ring. And when that happens, when he says the name, the entire wrestling business is going to change forever. The real question is whether WWE will cut to commercial break before he can reveal the truth, or whether they'll let it play out because the ratings will be too massive to resist. Final question for the comments, and this is the big one: do you believe Seth Rollins is innocent? Yes or no, and tell me why. Because your answer to that question says a lot about whether you think WWE is capable of this level of deception and corporate manipulation. This is the biggest mystery in wrestling right now. It's bigger than any championship, bigger than any storyline. Because it's about truth in an industry built on lies. Hit that like button if you want answers. Subscribe if you think WWE owes us an explanation. And comment below with your theory on who the mystery attacker really is. Because one thing's for certain: Seth Rollins broke his silence. And now, there's no going back.